On a dark, clear night, much like tonight in Inglewood, California, or was it Dayton, Ohio, or was it Clearwater, Florida? It could have been anywhere, but on a night much like tonight, a young lady, Sally Mayfield, rode her bike to Yvonne and Larry Miller's two-story house in a nice neighborhood. You see, Sally was the Millers' babysitter, and she had grown close to Casey, 8, and Matt, 10, the Millers' two children, and she was considered their regular babysitter. When Sally arrived at the Millers' house that particular evening, she was greeted by a hyper Casey, eager to play checkers, and Matt, eager to play catch, and of course, a very thankful Larry and Yvonne, as well as the family chocolate lab Jinx, who presented Sally with a slimy tennis ball as a welcome gift. Yvonne Miller warmly told Sally that there was a lasagna dinner in the oven, as well as an individual serving of strawberry shortcake in the refrigerator. Yvonne added that there was a new container of whipped cream on the top shelf if Sally, a high school volleyball player and track athlete, wanted to increase her body fat percentage to 0.1%. The body fat remark was lost on Sally. Larry let out a nervous chuckle. Yvonne then explained that the kids' bedtime was 9 p.m. and that she and Larry would be home by 1 a.m. at the latest. They reassured Sally that the house was secure and that she would be safe, and that the dog, Jinx, would always be on the second-story porch, and that if Sally ever got scared, she could put her hand out for Jinx to lick. The Millers left, and the evening went on without incident. Sally played with the kids, fed them eventually, and put them to bed. She called her boyfriend, Rick, talked to him for a while, and around 11 p.m. sat down on the couch and turned on the television. She was about to watch a movie on HBO Max, but for some reason decided to watch the 11 p.m. news on Channel 4 first. On the news, there was a middle-aged man with silver hair who was talking outside next to his news van in a neighborhood much like the Millers, and he seemed very alarmed. He said that a man had escaped from a nearby heavy-duty mental hospital and was considered very dangerous. The good-looking but older man with silver hair was advised that everyone in Inglewood and the nearby Inglewood area be on alert, and to make sure they locked their doors and double-checked their alarm systems. Sally giggled to herself, imagining if she would ever let the newsman with silver hair, who was still well-built, if she would let him seduce her. Probably not. And she then went to double-check the locks and alarm system. Sally then went back to the couch and started an episode of the popular show Euphoria and played it loudly. Halfway in the episode, she could have sworn she heard a thump. Then nothing. She lowered the volume. She kept watching. A few minutes later, she heard what sounded like a muffled yelp, a slightly high-pitched piercing of the air. It must have been a nearby cat, she thought. She turned Euphoria back on and kept watching. She then heard what she could have sworn was a rustle in the bushes. She giggled to herself that she was getting paranoid in her old age of 18 and that she watched too many horror movies. Maybe she was hot enough to star one of those horror movies, she thought. She then walked into the large mirror in the hallway leading to the Millers' living room and examined her athletic frame. She removed her sweatshirt she was wearing and examined her frame a little more closely in the white tank top she was wearing underneath. For a second, she let herself wonder if Larry had examined her young athletic frame from time to time. Then she heard the faintest of sounds, something akin to fabric on a plaster wall, but at a distance. That's what she got for thinking impure thoughts, she thought, as she put her large, baggy, hooded sweatshirt back on that displayed the name of her school's mascot, the Wolverines. Sally went back to the couch to bury her mind in the frenetic episode of the hit show Euphoria. As she watched the events play out on the screen, Sally realized that she felt unsettled. There was something at the core of her that she couldn't keep calm. Then she remembered the Millers' advice. She had always loved the family's chocolate lab Jinx. So she put her hand out the window of the second-story porch, all the while watching the Euphoria plot hurl into almost absurd territory. This show is crazy, she thought, as she felt Jinx's warm tongue on her hand. She kept watching, and as one episode ended, she quickly went on to another episode. Just as the second episode started, Casey could have sworn that she heard a cracking sound, as if someone had stepped on a brittle piece of plastic. Sally laughed to herself and put her hand back out the window for Jinx to lick. She wondered if Cassie and the other characters in Euphoria would get their lives straightened out and find love and have kids in their late 20s. Thinking back on their crazy late adolescent years. Her life wasn't that crazy, and she didn't plan on getting pregnant until, there it was again. Jinx's warm tongue caressed her hand as she took in the warm glow of the television screen. She checked her Apple Watch. It was midnight, and the Millers weren't due back from the country club ball yet for an hour. There was also a text from her friend Trish that started, "Yo, bitch." She would have to catch up with Trish the next day when this creepy night ended. Then there was a mild thump that sounded like it came from the downstairs bathroom. That was it. Sally had it. "Fuck me senseless," Sally blurted out. She tried not to swear in the Miller's house, as she was sure that Yvonne would not approve. She respected Yvonne and wondered if Yvonne would forgive her for sleeping with Larry just one time. Wait, what if one of the children was sick, had a stomach ache, or worse? Would she know what to do? She had to check. She had to. Sally extended her hand for one more lick from the trusty lab Jinx, then summoned all her courage to walk downstairs. As she did so, she wished her boyfriend, Rick, was there. He was kind of stupid but strong and had a deep voice. Would Rick know how to take down an intruder twice his age, though, she wondered? Rick was a varsity wrestler and looked tight with his shirt off, and that's all she knew. But what was up with his friend Boyd? He also looked appealing with his shirt off and had smooth lips. Fuck, did she have a Spanish test tomorrow? Sally's thoughts became more and more rapid as she walked down the stairs. Once at the bottom of the stairs, Sally noticed a glow from the bathroom. It looked like, indeed, one of the night lights was on. She got down the stairs and looked to the right, and both the children's rooms were dark. She walked towards the bathroom. Once there, she turned on the light. Everything seemed in order. Something, maybe it was all those horror movies she had watched, she thought, but something prompted her to walk towards the shower and pull back the thick shower curtain. She summoned up the courage, grabbed the shower curtain, and pulled it back. Then she looked down and saw pure red. Before she could scream, she realized it was the severed heads of Casey and Matt, and right next to them was the severed head of Jinx, the family dog. And pinned to Jinx's head was a handwritten note in black ink on binder paper. It read, "Serial killers lick hands too."